Hello and welcome. You're listening to Bobbacast Sessions, a spin-off podcast hosted by Fuusio, where we will be focusing on some of the hot issues that are taking place throughout the mass multiplayer online game for teens, Habbo Hotel. Lately, we've been using Bobbacast Sessions to have a look at the changes being implemented as a part of Habbo 2020, and it's time to shine the spotlight on a community whose issues with the new game have been somewhat swept under the rug. On September 28th, the same date as the Habbo Group Gate occurred, a few other Habbo 2020 updates were quietly leaked into the Flash client, including an update to Builders Club and its floor plan editor. No announcements were made to let users know that their subscription-based system had undergone tweaks to how it works, and the players only figured out the updates when memberships started to expire. Instead of having perpetual access to a floor plan update beyond the Builders Club membership, users were having their rooms shadow banned on the navigator, and friends were unable to search for the modified rooms to enter. When users realised what was happening, of course, there was an outcry in-game and online. Users who contacted the support team prior to this had been informed that this was in fact a bug and that the developers were in the process of rectifying this issue. But this did not seem to be the case, as confirmed by an article published on October 21st, which stated, while these changes were made ahead of schedule without warning, they are here to stay. Now I'm joined today by Paty from the Brazilian Hotel.
Hey there. Thank you for having me.
No, it's great to have you.
I'm so excited to be here talking to you.
Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself so that people who aren't familiar with you can get to know you?
I'm on habbo.com.br and my user is actually =Paty-=girl=, and that's not an easy user, but you will have to forgive me because I was not even 13 years old when I created it and I just can't let go of this account.
I can definitely relate to that.
I just love this game. I've been playing it on and off for a couple of years and I've been back now because of COVID. Now I have more time.
So this episode is talking about Builders Club. So I want to know, how do you personally use it when you're playing the game, when you're on Habbo?
I really love building the inside of places such as houses, art galleries, cafes, things like that. And I use a lot of wall bug. I don't know if that's how you call it in the English hotel, but just bug the walls to put wall furniture around the room. But recently I've also started building the outside of places like houses and gardens and things like that. And I use Builders Club a lot to change the layout of the room, to add a little bit of things that I need. And I think Builders Club is so useful. I really like it. Back in the day we didn't have this and it's so great. I love it. I'm not a big fan of using Builders Club to rent or hire furniture. I mainly test the furniture if I'm planning to buy something or if I want to see how it's going to look. However, I use Builders Club a lot to change the floor plan of my rooms. Almost every day I change the floor plans. I add a little bit, I remove a little bit, I create a different level, and I do this almost every day.
So with such constant use, you were unknowingly affected by the original backdated changes with the floor plan modified after September 28th of 2020. How did you find this out and what did you do when you found out?
So I was in this witch's room that I built, where people would come, we would have like creepy conversations and talk about Halloween and how excited we were for Halloween. And then there was this day after the end of my Builders Club subscription where nobody would arrive at my room, nobody would come, and I was just wondering what happened. And when I opened the window, I could see that it was invisible, and I looked on settings and there was nothing there. It's like everything was normal apparently. And then I asked help from Nailson from Habbo News website, a fansite we have here in Brazil. And then he could follow me and many of his friends followed him. And apparently you could follow everyone, but then nobody could see the room. I connected a teleport and people could arrive from the teleport, but then nobody could see the room and I had no idea what was happening. I wondered that it might be a problem with Builders Club, maybe a bug or something so innocent, right? This was at the beginning of October, so the new update was already on. And then I said, oh well, I would just open a new Builders Club box and see what happens. And then I opened the box and everybody could see the room, and I was just, well, maybe it was a bug. Let's see what's going to happen next month.
When Habbo posted an update on the website on October 21st, how did it make you feel to know that these changes had been made without a word from Habbo at all?
My first reaction was like, oh, so that's what happened to me, because I had the problem almost 2 weeks before it was announced, before the changes were announced. And then I got angry because I had to spend money, and nowhere, there was nothing anywhere talking about this. And here in Brazil, we have this law that protects consumers, that if you announce something, you have to guarantee that the person will get it. If you don't do that, you can be sued. So people went crazy. I know a guy who went to court and he tried to sue Habbo. I don't know what came out of it, but it's just crazy. They can't do this. They can't. And they gave like a half apology. I don't even think it was an apology. It was just justifying what they did, and it was not acceptable. I just felt calmer after they removed the update and they said, well, it's going to be on after Habbo 2020, but then right now you can still use your Builders Club subscription and you're not going to lose your rooms. But the way they did it, I don't think it was the best way to do it. They should have told us beforehand. They should have announced beforehand and not apologize, you know?
Yeah, and I think Habbo is working towards being more open with communication about updates. It's wonderful to see that they're doing change logs for the beta client now, and hopefully we'll be seeing some more significant changes in the future based on the feedback of us, of their players. With that article itself, there was no apology in it. They said it's unfortunate that these changes have been reflected in the live client before its intended release, and while it wasn't fully fleshed out, you couldn't unlock those rooms without becoming a Builders Club member. And if you wanted to enter the room and use the room as intended without signing up for Builders Club, there was no solution. Basically, they said, sorry, but until we fix that, you're stuck with it. For those that are listening now and you're finding that you don't have issues like this currently in client, that is because they did backflip on that decision. As announced on Twitter, they have reverted this change and it will only be implemented for Habbo 2020. So this change still exists and will be implemented now at the start of Habbo 2020. So that begs the question for me, Paty. If you are Habbo and you are trying to find a way to generate more income for the company, do you have alternative ideas for what you could propose rather than updating the Builders Club perks without telling anyone?
First of all, if I were part of the Habbo team, I would really improve my communication with the players. I think that's paramount to having a good relationship and to build a healthy community, you know? Otherwise, the players will be mad at the game and at the staff all the time. And I don't think that's very helpful. I don't think any company would want that. I understand their need for more income. We can see it with all the updates. They're finding ways to increase their income, but I don't think that's the way.
So what about different ways to imagine Builders Club when a large portion of users only use the floor plan editor, not the Fernie renting aspects of it? For example, Deactivate on Twitter suggested that perhaps Habbo should create 3 clubs. Architects Club to change the floor editor, Clothing Club to change the avatar clothes and colours, and Builders Club for renting furniture. And then these 3 subscriptions, he suggested, could then be bundled up and sold together for a discounted price and sit under the whole umbrella of a Habbo Club.
If they really had to modify Builders Club, I'd suggest them to remove the subscriptions, like no subscription for Builders Club unless you want to hire some Fernie, you want to rent Fernie. But everybody could change the floor plans of the rooms, and if you wanted to open the room so that other people could enter, you'd have to pay a tax. So I think that'd be more effective. Not paying every time you change, but changing it how much you like, and then paying to open the room. I think that would be more effective. I'd accept that. I'd do that, and I'd pay if I wanted to open my rooms. But paying a subscription to keep the rooms open, even if you just change the floor plan, that's not acceptable at all.
Yeah, I actually think that that's a really interesting business model, and I 100% agree that it's a model which prompts users to pay, while also giving them the freedom to have a perpetual floor plan once they're happy with their layout. If I was trying to implement that as Habbo, I'd be looking at unlinking it from Builders Club as well, and creating a new system where every time you change the room, it becomes locked, per se. And you can edit the floor plan of a locked room, but in order to unlock it, then you are happy with the layout, you just need to pay a perpetual plan fee. Maybe 5C, 10C. Perhaps Habbo might think that might be too inexpensive, but I think there's a few key reasons why you want to keep that cost low. And it's because when you edit the floor plan, you are building your customized room for the specific furniture in that space. You're unlikely to get a use case outside of that scenario with different furniture without changing the floor plan again. So that means every time a user wants to update the room and adjust the floor plan after it's been unlocked, it would create an extra fee. Of course, being delinked from Builders Club, you would either need an ongoing membership to keep your rented furniture in the room, or to buy furniture from the catalogue. And with the rooms you are paying to open, you are less likely to swap out furniture, and that keeps the items in Habbo's rooms and out of the trading economy, creating a sinkhole essentially for the items. This, of course, prompts users to buy furniture for the next room, which means there's an ongoing economic effect, but it does have its limitations given that there is a 100 room limit for any user and their created rooms. So I was talking to Tomi, the founder, owner and developer of Fuusio.net, about the ideas discussed in this podcast, and he's agreed to come on and share some of his thoughts around these updates to Builders Club. Hey Tomi, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. It's wonderful to have you here, not just a face behind the scenes, but someone who is speaking up and becoming more prominent at the forefront of this conversation.
Yeah, it's good to be here. I've slowly been getting more confident with expressing my ideas, and well, here we are.
So you're from the Finnish hotel, but you've also got an account on the .com hotel, and I've been able to see some of your builds in the .com hotel, and I think they're really cool. So as a builder, what is your thoughts on the Builders Club subscription in general?
My problem personally with it has always been that I'm not a very active builder. I might build, say, 5 rooms in a year, so it doesn't make any sense for me to have an active subscription. For me, it's always been that I'll have an idea for a room, I'll just get a 14-day or a month. I'll change the floor plan. I don't use the furniture because, after your subscription runs out, then it's just locked.
So how would you suggest Habbo adapts or changes the Builders Club feature in order to benefit both the players and the company in terms of profit?
So maybe you could purchase some BC tickets, say 10 for $10 or 10 for 100 credits and diamonds, and maybe you'll get one for free when you buy a month of BC. So you'd have the tickets, and you could unlock your rooms that you've used BC furniture or you modified the floor plan, and then it would be unlocked for as long as you got the room or until you change it again. So that would remove the problem of having to keep your subscription active even when you aren't using it, just to keep your rooms open. First you make a room, you modify the floor plan, and you use the BC furniture, because now when you use the ticket, the room will stay open even after your subscription runs out. Then if you use BC furniture again, or you modify the floor plan, then you'll have to use another ticket to keep it open. But you can use your own furniture or whatever, and it'll be fine.
So if you were using Builders Club furniture to, in theory, host your room perpetually, Habbo loses out on an already well-established ongoing subscription fee for hiring Fernie, I guess. And that seems to be the direction they want to continue to move towards, and a lot of services are moving towards, whether it's a game or a streaming service or even software, as it's a set fee of guaranteed income each month. So I wonder, if you wanted to apply this system to Builders Club furniture in addition to floor plans, would you have to limit it so it has a freemium model with tickets, which only limits the amount of ticketed unlocked rooms containing Builders Club furniture perhaps to, say, 5 or 10 rooms without the active subscription?
Well, I mean, even looking at your example, Netflix, for example, it's a subscription, but I don't have a constant subscription. Many of my friends, they'll get a month or two of Netflix and then they'll stop it because they don't need to have it constantly. And I think the same applies here. Many people don't have a need for a constant Builders Club subscription. So if they do make the change that you have to keep paying to keep your room open for having once edited a floor plan, they'll just stop using it altogether. They aren't gaining anything. They are losing a potential subscriber that would spend the money every few months maybe, but not monthly. And I think that's a shame.
Yeah, I agree. I think people are more likely to see the cost of keeping an active floor plan and decide that the price just isn't worth the product that is being offered by the game. You're an active beta tester, Tomi. Do black holes still exist in Habbo 2020? Do you think we'll see a resurgence of these items used for room building in order to bypass an ongoing monthly Builders Club subscription?
Yep, they work. So that's actually a really good point. Before we had Builders Club and the floor editor, the black holes were a big thing. They let you make some kind of custom floor plans, so they might see a resurgence with these changes.
It would be interesting to see if they introduce one-tile black holes to purchase from the catalogue, because at the moment the 4x4 tiles are being sold for ducats, the free currency on offer, for being an active player, and it would be interesting to see if Habbo tried to bring in these smaller tiles for coins or coins and diamonds, and they'd be like the superior tile, allowing users to have more control over room design when trying to make the room smaller or slightly different shaped in a preset. And adjust the spaces. Because they are being sold one tile at a time as well, it would result in a larger amount of sales costs because you're buying one each time. It's kind of like I see the 4x4 stack tile as the premium stack tile. This would be the premium black hole tile.
Mm-hmm. They do already have 1x1 black holes. They've been using them in some public rooms way back when they first introduced the black holes. But they never did sell those, so...
Of course, the downside to black holes is that they're not optimised for removing the floor completely, and we see this most prominently with coloured room backgrounds, where you get an awkward black square in the middle of the hole tile, and some occasional stray sparkles from the effect of the black hole, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's not very optimal.
So I haven't found many players who are casual subscribers to Builders Club who are on board with this change. Do you think old players like this, or even new players, will get on board with the update to the Builders Club system?
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing to be gained for any of the players. You just lose. There is no gain here. Purely a change for Habbo to get more subscriptions. But, well, we'll see how it plays out.
So we've heard from Paty, who's from the Brazilian hotel, and Tomi from the Finnish and .com hotel. And just to finish up this podcast, we're going to hear from Santi13, who is from the Spanish hotel, which just shows how wide-ranging these effects are across the Habbo community. Hey mate, how you doing?
Hello, thanks for having me in your podcast.
No, it's great to have different opinions from around the community and around different hotels as well, so thank you so much for being here. Let's start with how you use Builders Club. Do you hire Fernie or change floor layouts, or do you do a bit of both?
Yeah, I use it mainly for high furnish from games like Freeze, and I like to edit the floor plan. Use to remote the space that I don't use from the room, because it has sometimes space that really looks ugly being empty, and I don't know what to do with those, and I just delete those.
So you're a big fan of using the Builders Club Fernie itself to build game rooms and also editing the floor plan. So what's your opinion on having the rooms locked after expiry if you've edited the floor plan, even if you own all of the furniture in the room itself?
It's a bad decision because users just get the PC membership to edit their rooms, and it will make people use black holes once again.
And if you were trying to improve Habbo and make it better than what it is now, and use a method that isn't related to perhaps changing Builders Club, what would you choose to do? How would you make it more appealing for new players and existing players to continue playing?
Honestly, I keep the game center, like games like Snowstorm, Fast Food, Speedway, and more.
Wow, those are games I haven't heard in a while. What about for the Builders Club? How would you update the Builders Club system to make it more appealing for users to subscribe?
And to BC catalog, I add the stuff for me.
Yeah, I guess if you were using the Fernie from those games specifically and had it as an exclusive to Builders Club, that would be one way to go about making sure that Builders Club has an extra level of appeal for players who want to access that, for room design, for game design even. Now, as an end to this podcast, I'd like to bring an exclusive. While digging around in the new client's code, the folks at Fuusio have found some bits of text that suggest new benefits are coming to Builders Club. One possibility is that paying members will have lower taxes for certain features, such as selling whole rooms Fernie, which the text suggests may be possible in the future. Only time will tell, however, if these features will ever be released. For now, it seems as though players who don't already subscribe to Builders Club monthly don't see the value in joining this service that they feel locked into. As always, bringing a podcast like this together takes a huge team of people, so I'd like to extend a massive thank you to the whole Fuusio team, the episode guests including Paty from .br, Tomi from .fi and Santi13 from .es. If you'd like to take part in any future episodes or suggest any future themes for this podcast, please let us know on Twitter. You've been listening to Bobbacast Sessions with Elise, also known as LC22 on Habbo.com. See you next time.